Hey everyone, it's Jackie, and today I'm here with my very first junk journal process video. I've got another video on my channel showing you this book if you want to see it, but I thought I'd do a couple pages in it today, and I thought you might like to see, so I turned the camera on. So as you can see in the back pocket of this book, I just keep all of the photos that are going to go in it eventually, and right now I've got a lot, so I'm just kind of sorting through them and figuring out which ones do I want to do today. All I do is just put the date on them so that I know how to date them when they go in the book. And basically, I print all my photos using my Canon Selfie, which prints 4x6 in size. But in my creative journal, I do a lot of 3x4 size. So that leaves like half of a page to put other photos on. So anytime I have a blank space, I just throw on an extra photo that's a memory that I want to remember and put in this book, and I just tuck it in the back pocket, and I just work on this whenever I feel like it. Got a few pages done so far. So I picked out this picture of my husband and I, and this was just like an off photo from, we took a bunch of selfies trying to get a nice picture, and at one point we just started laughing really hard, and this picture kind of came out of that mess. So it makes me smile when I look at it, so I wanted to save it, and so this book is the perfect place for it. I choose this vellum page to do my first layout on, and I just try to protect it as best I can. I put wax paper and clips behind it, and then I just use some masking tape to stick it down because I'm going to put acrylic paint on it. And when you put acrylic paint on vellum, it gets really crinkly, and sometimes that drives me nuts. Like, I don't like that in my regular journal, but in this journal where I've got a bit wider of a spine, and I don't mind it, I like that it gets kind of crunchy and gives it a little more texture. So I've got my acrylic paints here. I use Americana brand because it's cheap and I love it. I tried the Craftsmart brand from Michaels. I don't find it's as nice as the Americana. And then I just start putting down daubs of paint, and I just finger paint. I start with the lightest colors, and I sort of blend them in together, and then I start adding the dark colors, and just sort of making a mess. This book is artsier than my creative journal, and it's just a place that I come to play. When I want to just play with my art supplies, I pull out some paints, I pull out some stamps, whatever I feel like, and I work in this book. It's kind of replaced for me what I used to use a smash book for. If you've been following me for a couple of years, you know I did a smash book every year for the last 3 years, which holds my random memories, the things that are not big events in my life, but they're still worth remembering. And this is filling the same spot in my journaling, but it's also giving me like an extra creative outlet where I can just play with my art supplies. And I'm like, I don't wash my hands between paints or anything. I just make a mess and I have fun with it. So then I just hit it with a heat gun to dry it, but I'm not going to bother showing you that. I pick out this Prima stamp that I thought the dots on it looked like the dots in the on the pattern paper of the heart, so I thought they went together pretty well. I thought because it had that little I love you rub on it, it was a good page for a picture of me and my husband together. And so I just hold the stamp in my hand. I don't use an acrylic block because I don't want to get like straight edges in my stamping. I just want it to be kind of messy and scattered. And I stamp it off several times, so I get dark dots and I get light dots, and that's the way I like it. So then I start figuring out what my page is going to look like. I know I want to put some stenciling on, so I pull out this Delusions heart stencil. And then I decide to back my photo with a book page, and so I just tape it down. And I've been using pages from the book The Gospel According to Coco Chanel in my art for 2 years now, and I love it because it's such a trashy book. I never feel guilty that I ripped these pages out of a book. I never feel guilty when I tear them apart, and it's just it wasn't a nice book, and it's making some wonderful art. So find a book you don't respect, and I recommend using that in your art. So I just tear off the edges. They went a little closer than what I had intended, but it turns out that it fits on the page just fine. So if I'd gone any further away from the edge, it wouldn't have fit. So it all worked out. And then I just decided it needs a little more color, so I pull out my watercolors. These are my Winsor Newton Cotman colors, and there's another video on my channel if you want to see how I set up this palette. And mix up some turquoise because I think it fits with the all the greens and the blues on this page. And I'm not trying to do a nice painting job or anything. I'm not trying to hit everywhere. I'm just putting a rough sort of splash of color on there because I'm trying to keep everything on this, like the style of this page, really loose. So I think that worked out just fine. And then I have these masking stickers, and they've been in my stash, I think, for 3 years now. I've had them since I got my very first traveler's notebook, and they just sit there. So this book is for using things in my stash that have just been sitting there. So I go through and I see if any of them match, and I think the pink grid works pretty well. So I end up putting a couple of strips of that down, and I just kind of position them so that they look like they're one continuous piece of paper behind the photo. So I position them horizontal and I make sure they line up. And I think that works pretty well. I don't trust washi tape to stick down on an artsy kind of page, so then I'm going to go back and I'm going to use some matte medium to stick them down. I use TriArt's brand matte medium. I really like it. And I just cover up the tape, and then since I have it out anyway, I figure I'll use that to stick down my photo. Normally I think I'd probably just use my tape runner, but I just put it on the middle of the photo. I don't put it on the edges because I still want the edges to be able to lift up since they're, you know, they're book pages. I think it's nice for them to have a little bit of looseness to them. And stick that down. And then I was going to title this page Dorks because I thought we looked like dorks or acting like dorks. But then I remembered I have these Amy Tangerine Better Together thickers, and I loved that collection so much when it came out. I bought the whole thing, and I never used dimensional elements in my journal, and I know this, but I bought the thickers anyway, and now they just sit in my stash. So I thought they'd look really nice on this page, and actually they ended up looking a lot nicer than any title I was going to do myself. So it's good that I used them. I just put them on some wax paper until I figure out where their final position's going to be, because the wax paper doesn't affect the adhesive on them. So then I decided to do some modeling paste, and this is a new jar of modeling paste that I find out after I've put it down. It's actually modeling gel. And so what's the difference? Modeling paste would have dried white. Modeling gel dries clear. So right now you see white hearts on the page. Those will disappear in the next minute or two as they dry. There were a few things I could have done to bring them out after they dried because the texture is still there. So I could have painted the tops of them. I could have like dripped some ink in between them, and I think that would have made the hearts pop out again, but I ended up liking them when they faded into the background. I thought they were just like some extra texture, and it was a nice subtle element, so I left it. So everything's pretty much in place now, so I start sticking down my title, which is Better Together. And the together is a little bit too wide for the page, so I just cut the flip-uppy bit at the end of the R so that it fits across the page. And I think that looks pretty good. So now you can see it after it's dried, and like I said, the hearts are pretty much gone. You can see little hints of the texture on the page. But with the plasticky nature of the vellum and then the kind of plasticky nature of the hearts, I just thought it all worked together, so I just left it like that. There's some metallic blue in the paint, and I wanted to carry that through to the book page, so I grabbed my Wink of Stella pen, and it's just the clear one, and I just put some glitter down. And then I've got these Delusions stamps. I got them at Michael's recently, and they're part of the current lineup. And I stamp out my date, and I put it on that little heart, and I just kind of do my best to put it somewhere that you can still read it. Like I could try to squeeze it in between the dots. I put some chipboard underneath it just to give myself a good stamping surface. I always keep that handy. And you can sort of read it. I think it worked. And after that, I think this page is pretty much done. I just pull off all the protective stuff, the masking tape and the wax paper and everything, and that pretty much does it. And there's the back of the page. I think it turned out really pretty, so that's going to be a background for another photo some other time. Or I may cover it up. Who knows? You never know in a junk journal. There goes my tape and my wax paper, and here is the finished page. But I've still got another one for you. I did another small page, and I thought that it was too small to do a separate video, so I thought I'd just put them together in this one. So I flip back, and if you're in my Facebook group, you might have seen this shark selfie picture. I can't remember if I put it on Instagram or not. I think I just put it on Facebook. And now I'm just doing the other side of that envelope, and I'm using this photo. So the photo is an alert I got on my phone that said, it was an Instagram alert letting me know I had a new follower, and that follower was the official Rod Stewart. And I got that alert at the gym, and when I saw it, I was like, oh my goodness, what is going on here? But then I looked into it a little further, and it turned out it was not really Rod Stewart's official page. It was someone, there's actually people out there that pretend to be Rod Stewart apparently. So it was like a fake account. But I still thought it was so funny. I emailed it to my mother, who's a Rod Stewart fan. I emailed it to my sister, and they all thought it was really funny. So it's still a memory that I want to save, so I just took a screenshot of the alert, and I'm putting it in my book. So I do some more finger painting. This time I used some poodle skirt pink and some purple cow, and they go together pretty well. And I just smeared all over the envelope. And I lost a little bit of footage here, but I also put in a little more purple underneath, like inside the envelope, right at the top, because it's going to show through. But I didn't have that. I don't know, that footage got lost. My camera was on the fritz when I was filming this. So then I've got these washi tape samples in my stash. They're ones that my sister gave me. She and I always split our washi tapes when we get new ones. And I don't use them as often as I mean to, because they just aren't out where I see them. So I wanted to use some of them in this book, and so I put down 2 strips, and you can see the purple paint on the inside there now, and I just trimmed around them. And here's an old piece of bubble wrap that's in my stash. I use it sometimes. And I just use that with a little bit of gesso, and I just do some stamping to give myself a little more texture. I think it's a little more fun than stenciling, and it gives you a similar effect. And then I've got this We Are Memory Keepers rolling stamper, and I use that to put a couple stars along the edge of the envelope. I didn't bother putting a handle on it because my hands are so covered in paint at this point that I was just, I didn't want to handle anything I didn't have to. Because the mess is part of the fun of this, but it means I get paint on all my stuff. I've got this water brush, and it's filled with a mixture that's half India ink and half water. Because I thought I would want to try brush lettering with a water brush, and it turns out I don't like that very much. So now I just use it in my art. So now I've decided to stamp out my title, and so it's a little bit tedious, so I've sped it way up for you. But basically the title is going to be For a Minute I Thought This Was Real, and I've said it before, as a lefty I get much better results when I stamp with peg stamps from right to left, so I don't really even think about it anymore. I just do it automatically. It makes my letters more evenly spaced, it makes them more at the same height, and so it saves me redoing things over and over. I lost a little more footage here too, but basically what I do with this is I just stamp it out, I cut the words apart, I stick them down with matte medium, and then I trace around them with a fine liner pen, like a Sakura Micron pen, and that makes them pop a little bit. And I'll use tape to stick down my photos. So yeah, that's and that's pretty much it to this page. That's 2 pages that I did in there, and I still have lots more photos I need to do. So if you guys like junk journal process videos, let me know, and I'll do more of these. I know you guys mostly tune into me to see my creative journal, but if you like this sort of just watching me play with paints and stuff, I would be happy to do more of these videos. There will be some photos at the end that will show you the finished pages. And yeah, I think these pages actually turned out pretty adorable, so I'm having a lot of fun with this. It's a lot more fun than the scrappy version that I did in my Smashbooks. Or I guess I should say it's a different kind of fun. Yeah, so there I am sticking down the words, and you can see there where last time when I did my shark selfie page, I used sprays, and it got on about, I don't know, 10 different pages in the book. It seeped through everything, so I don't know. This book's a mess though, so I think I like that. I'll probably use them again. I'll probably have the same problem again. But it's fun. I just like making a mess in here. So yeah, that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching.